That video. What was that? Did you see that?
What, the galaxy thing?
Yeah.
Just gangster
That's
as hell.
not what I expected. And the music?
Oh.
All right.
Gangster as hell.
Anyways, welcome back to episode 85 of the Download Illuvium news. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks. We had some great leaks and going hyper. I'm not going to go over them, but I do recommend you guys go and check out that episode. We have some other leaks today. A bunch of stuff is happening with the TPI changes, a bunch of arena patches, and the new features coming to the game really soon. Not to mention the MMO-Lite directors had a massive town hall just over a week ago, and we're going to cover everything you need to know from that today. How's it going, man? How's the week been?
Yeah, good. Happy it's Easter. Taking a couple of days off to just chill out. Actually did a bit of preparation for this episode, which is a first. But no, I think there's a lot to cover, so I think it should be a pretty interesting conversation. I was kind of hoping Sam would make it, but unfortunately, it is what it is. But yeah, we'll have a good time regardless.
It's really funny. Like I came to this revelation today. I did not today or yesterday or whatever. I didn't realize that the Easter break was an Australian thing, or mainly an Australian thing. I thought everyone around the world had a public holiday today because we get a public holiday for Good Friday, and then we have one for Easter Monday as well in next week, and then we have a more specialized Australian one to get another Friday. So big.
It's like an Australian. It's like an Australian UK thing. Like the states don't honor it as a public holiday. A lot of countries don't honor it, but yeah, Australia, UK absolutely do.
Which really surprises me because the US, at least many years ago, was very big Catholic.
Man, yo, Sam, stop being a bitch. Come down.
We have all the stuff in the chat. Did I not send? I sent it to that chat, right?
No, you did. But maybe his microphone is still broken.
No, I didn't send it to that chat.
Maybe he's playing RuneScape.
He's always on RuneScape. Okay, let's jump into the announcements for the week, and then we'll jump into the MMO-Lite right after that. First one is patch F went live, and there was a slight buff to all fighter dominant alluvials, and then another patch came in shortly after to kind of like rebalance a few things or more buff everything else in turn. But some of these patches have looked really good. I haven't had the chance to actually play a bunch of them, which has been really weird. But there have been a lot of really cool patches and things like that coming through. The Bug Finder Squad round 1 winners also went through. Balance winning 15,000 fuel, Anubis winning 10k. Some really great names here for people submitting bugs. So really great to see Illuvium rewarding the Bug Finder Squad. Honestly, 15,000 fuel seems a little bit low. Maybe it could be more, but still really great to see all that.
Isn't 15,000 like $100 worth? Am I crazy?
Yeah, it might be 150.
Yeah, I mean, is that small?
Yeah, but the second and fifth prizes were like 10,000, 7,500, 6,000, 5,000. I don't know. If there's only 5 prizes and they're in fuel, you could probably go a bit bigger.
I don't know. I think the fact that you're actually getting rewarded for bug finding like this, shit, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, but let me put it this way. Everyone who's playing on the main net and not focused on bug finding is earning a lot more from the weekly gauntlet rewards.
Oh, right. I thought they were bug finding on the
This isn't test. That's the testnet one.
Right. That makes sense. I was under the impression that it was the main net.
Okay, so the other one is the Illuvium Town Hall. They went over multiplayer breach combat, companions, NPC counters, ranger gear, and progression. And make sure you subscribe because I have a video coming out all about everything you need to know from that town hall. And I went through and it took me like 3 hours to make the script today. It has got some really good stuff in it. Initially, when I was listening to the town hall, it kind of didn't really strike a chord. When I listened to it the second time, wow, there's actually some really cool stuff in there. So make sure you're watching out for those videos and that content, and using my referral code just over there. Sam's coming. Wait, all right.
I think your referral code is blocked, but no stress.
Oh yeah. I don't show it on this screen. I'll show it later. It's just Scoriox.
Sam said he's backstage or something like that.
No, he's not.
I don't know. He's lying then. He's a liar.
He's not there. Oh, now he is. All right. The other one is patch.
Did you fix your mic? Did you fix your mic?
Does it work?
Oh my god. They're gonna hate
What,
it.
is it not working? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Keep going. Sorry.
So patch G also went live. There were some stat tweaks to several alluvials, including health and damage adjustments. I read through those patch notes. They actually looked really, really cool. Again, I haven't had the chance to play it. Some really great synergy updates across the board. If there's anyone in chat that's had a chance to play Gauntlet in the past day or two, please. I've yet to battle me the Gauntlet Scoriox. We'll have to consider a GHAM. But if anyone's played the recent patch, let me know. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on all of it. Augment values adjusted, legendary augments adjusted, several bug fixes, and more. Really great to see that. The new rewards dashboard. We're going to show off this because this is actually really, really cool, where you can see the preseason airdrop rewards, bounty hunt leaderboard rewards, beyond leaderboard rewards. You got your fuel rewards, which isn't mentioned here, and all the raffle tickets, bounty recap, and all the rest of it. It's actually really, really cool. And if we show this, which will
test 1, 2,
log
3
in.
just fixed. Test 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that looks so much better. That's so much better. Okay, you can see right here, you can see all of your rewards you can claim in Ethereum, in ILV, depending on what it is. The fuel can be claimed in ETH, obviously. Global leaderboard for Beyond can be claimed in ILV or fuel. And what's really cool here is if you claim things in fuel, you actually get a 20% bonus on top of it, which they didn't really talk about anywhere. So that's really, really cool. All I do for the Beyond leaderboard, I hit claim. And it's distributing. All done. This is like 8 fuel, so I probably should just claim that. I'm going to try and go a little bit harder on Illuvium 0, see how much I can actually get from rewards. But either way, this is really cool, and this new system is so much simpler and easier to use than it has ever been before. Crypto Quick Chat agrees your microphone works well.
I fixed it. It was literally just I was using the camera mic settings. It doesn't matter. For a whole episode last week or 2 weeks ago. What an idiot!
You didn't click the little settings cog that's right there.
I literally just didn't click the down button and click my microphone. So
I just assumed you tried that first. That's why I never said anything.
No, Crypto.
I won't lie. I just checked mine right now just to double check and make sure it's not happening to me.
Mine's always right. I don't think it likes my camera microphone, so it uses my proper one. Okay, so the other one is the TPI system update. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this has actually gone live yet.
It has.
But I thought it had. Okay, so it has. The TPI system is now based on the arena stats only. It still has the weighting. So, for example, for a Bulwark alluvial like a Grotko, the health will have the highest weighting, which is like 30%, I think. And then it goes cascades down throughout the different stats. So movement speed will probably be the lowest weighting on pretty much everything. I think there's a few little exceptions. But yeah, so the TPI system update, really, really good. A lot of people are really happy with that. And yeah, that's the announcements for the day. Did we want to go over the MMO-Lite stuff now and then return to the other leaks, or do we want to smash out all the leaks first and then get to the MMO-Lite stuff?
I reckon because we're probably going to go back and forth a lot on the MMO stuff. Let's leave that till the end and we can have a proper conversation.
Yep,
we'll smash out the leaks. There's
not too much otherwise, so we can smash through it. All right, the first one is Link has been posting these updates on fuel.
Have you guys
fuel payments? But this doesn't include Stripe payments, worth noting. Yeah. But for Ethereum, USDC, and other things, it's been about $12,000 since the new fuel system went live about 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, which is actually really not that bad.
Does that include?
Really not that bad?
Does that include the fuel promotional stuff or no?
What do you mean by that?
The fuel that you get given if you own land. You know, there's fuel promotional
crates, the fuel crates.
Yeah. No, this is just money in, excluding
fuel revenue,
excluding Stripe.
So it's people paying with Ethereum or except Stripe.
Yeah.
So $12,000 over 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll keep the lights on for one more day.
I'm
kidding.
But seriously, have you guys been? I know, Sam, you tested it out. I don't think you're like still deep into it. But what are your thoughts on drone runs? I'll be the first to say I wasn't keen on it. I'm like, too little, too late. There's still part of that I think is not true, but stands true. But I think that the product, obviously, I wish 2020 hindsight we had it at launch. But for what it is right now, and then if we can get kind of right the direction of the ship, it's a really good product to have on hand. And I've actually, me saying I wasn't even going to participate, I've been going hard at it. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So no, massive shout out there. But yeah, I'm just curious what you guys think about it. How you guys still enjoying it? I do a couple a day.
I'm going to go harder at it when Leviathan comes, as I'm going for all my stats and things like that. But yeah, I do a couple a day. I really, really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I don't do the hyper one very often. $12 a little bit steep for something where you're probably going to get a few things to fill out your collection, but really you're just trying to get as many as you can so you get good stats eventually. Since hyper run doesn't affect the stats, and it probably shouldn't, I actually agree with that setup. I probably won't ever do it unless it did affect stats in some way.
Yeah, I mean, top-down view, I wish it came out on launch because I think Illuvium would have pocketed millions of dollars more. I did about 300 runs, I think, to test out how I feel psychologically, how it would all go. Great product. You need to get people in to test it. So I think I like the idea of fuel crates dropping in the arena. I think if we could do I mean, you can't really do this, but a designated, hey, you get a free ADR run so then people know how they feel. Because I think once you start feeling it, like I played a couple of runs and I was like, okay, I get the psychological aspect, I get the pokies element, and it makes you want to do more and more, or just one more spin, one more this, like most addicts. And yeah, I can see why people get hooked on it. And again, I wish it was on launch, and it will be a good product in the future. And it'll be, I think it's 20% less than doing an overworld run itself or thereabouts. Again, the Illuvium just need a lot more players, and yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, like I said, I think if we're able to right the ship, it's going to be super, super effective in what it's supposed to do. Hindsight, I wish, and I think we've heard Kieran kind of even say this publicly, but we all kind of wish it was there at launch. It would have been a huge asset to have at launch, but you can't go back and change things. So
what can you do moving forward, I guess?
Correct. I think the product, like you said, the product is a good product. Like even for me, I'll do 5, 6. Honestly, I'm being very conservative. I do a lot more than that per day. And at the end of it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend 1,000 fuel, 2,000 fuel, whatever it is. And then I'm like, at the last one, okay, if I get something good, a part of me is like, oh man, I'm on a run. Let me hit the next one. If I do get a shit one, I'm like, yo, I'm not going out like that. And I do a next one. So like the product does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Just wish it came in a little bit earlier. But like I said, I think my main sentiment there is if we're able to right the ship, it's going to be super, super effective once we onboard players and really make that make sense. I was worried about the oversupply of Luvials, but I realized like having a bunch of shitty TPI Luvials, I don't think it really makes sense. As long as the top TPI stuff is still worth something, that the lower stuff I think is somewhat irrelevant. But we will talk about it when we go into the MMO about the new guys talking about proper syncs and econ and supply and inflation, things like that. So it's not like they're disregarding it. But I think short term, it's not irrelevant, but not the biggest priority.
You need to.
That is on the.
I know we're going to cover it later, but the way they talked about alluvials in the new MMO-Lite kind of made me wish like we didn't have ADRs at all and stuff like that. But we'll get to that later.
You need to burn the alluvials that are crap to make the higher tier worth something, and there's a reason. But let's talk about it later because I burn everything at this stage.
I don't know, like you've watched. I know I've watched the town hall once and transcribed it and AI the biggest points, so I've been able to review it. Scoriox, I think you've watched it twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Sam, you probably watched it one time, but
no,
I
4 times, if you're wondering.
Oh shit! Really? Actually,
everything I do, you know me, behind closed doors. I watch everything. I listen to everything multiple times, 2-speed everything, just so I digest. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, crazy. Okay, yeah. So interesting. I think we're gonna have a good conversation then. I think we've all got somewhat differing opinions, and yeah, I'm very excited to go over the MMO stuff when we get to it.
All right, all right. So let's jump into the next one. Aaron said that Illuvium has always been sci-fi fantasy, or sci-fantasy as he calls it. So he doesn't think we'll ever go really deep on sci-fi. Illuvials have some elements of sci-fi to them, but they're very magical fantasy creatures. Because I was talking about this in the MMO-Lite. I'd say if we're looking to pull a bit closer to fantasy in terms of feel while trying to stay somewhat true to the sci-fi backdrop. I never really thought about sci-fi fantasy. Do many other sci-fi fantasy things exist?
I'm sure they would, right?
I'm currently building out a game that's sci-fi fantasy like, to be fair with you, but very small scale compared to these guys.
Yeah. I mean, the one, it's funny that you actually say sci-fi fantasy. The one game that comes to mind immediately is the new game, Split Fiction, which is legitimately a split between sci-fi and fantasy.
That's different. That's different.
I know it is, but it's the first thing that comes to mind.
That is a funny one. I guess you could say like Assassin's Creed is sci-fi fantasy because it's sci-fi with the fantasy when you jump into the animals.
I wouldn't say that's fantasy. I
That's
wouldn't
a
say that's
stretch.
fantasy at all. Yeah, fantasy is more magical, mystical type.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can take like 100 bullets and not die, so that's pretty fantasy to me.
I think that's just called the game, Scoriox. I think that's just called the video game.
All right, so the next one is after any disrupt, when you're in the arena, the units actually retarget, and we already know that. It starts hitting something else that's closer, that's normal. If the original unit is the same distance, then we want to prioritize the original target. However, that hasn't been implemented yet, so that should actually change up the game quite a bit. So that's really interesting. There's a lot of auto battle logic things here. You can pause here if you want to read on that stuff. I can't scroll anymore.
One thing
yeah.
that I don't know if you guys. I'm assuming now after that little speech that you gave, Sam. I'm assuming you watched the Going Hyper with Dick this morning.
Yeah, 3
Scoriox,
times.
3 times. Scoriox, I'm sure. I'm not sure if you've watched it.
I've actually managed to watch it once. Yeah.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. So I think one of the things that they mentioned, which I thought was interesting, is that there's a lot of stuff coming in the next couple of months that they're already starting to balance for, like these things. So I think it's going to be. I feel like we always say this, and I don't know how true it is. It feels more true than it has, but the next 1 or 2 months seems like we're gonna see a much more polished version of Arena. And I know we've been saying this for a long ass time, but I do to give them credit. It does feel way more polished, and I think the direction and the speed at which that we're seeing balance patches, whether everyone likes it or not, but it feels like the changes are becoming. We can have a discussion and a debate whether we want it to be more rapid, if that's feasible. I don't know, but it does seem like it does seem like it is much more efficient than it has been in the past. That's my take on it.
I have the list of features coming if you want me to leak it.
Sure.
If you can.
Well, I don't know if I can, but I'm a council member. I can do what I want.
I don't think that's how it is, but leak it if you want.
All right. Features that are practically done but are in review are scouting, the forge system, so the items and the crates and stuff, crates and components, so the rest of the forge system, and the end screen UI. We saw all that on Going Hyper. Things that were deep in progress were the carousel, which it sounds like are even deeper in progress since I found out. Suit amplifiers are apparently in the next pass. Bonding is coming in the next update. The battle pass, which you saw a leak on and Going Hyper as well. And region selection is hopefully coming as well. And this is all expected to drop in May. Now, the tentative date that they have internally is kind of like mid-May, but I don't know if it'll be later than that or something like that. I'm not going to give you the exact date they've told me, but it's kind of around that ballpark. But no, sometime in May, we should have all of those features that I just said added into Illuvium, which is actually really, really exciting. And I think the items in particular, I think is going to make the game a lot more fun. The randomness of the augments kind of ruins it a bit for me. Like when someone gets one of the S tier legendary augments, it just, the game feels kind of broken, and that's always been the case. And it's kind of hard to balance, to be honest, because some of them are just, they're not so much good because they give a lot of stats or whatever. They're just good because they pair up with good alluvials in a certain way. And it just, like, if you give a big Caradulox with Colossus and you get the perfect augment for it, it's just game over, right? You've won, right?
Yo,
so I'm looking forward to these updates.
Question, Sam. I know you want to jump in. Let me ask Scoriox a question. He'll give us context, and we can have a conversation about it. So, Scoriox, whether you can share it or not, what can you share? When do you think we're going to see what you would claim is a polished gauntlet? Part one of the question. Part two is, when do you think that we should start marketing this to TFT and auto battle players?
Well, Kieran talked about all that at the end of the MMO-Lite. So basically what he said is what he's already told us. But as for Polished Gauntlet, the next round of features, things like weapons are getting revamped in the next round, which is like mid-June, right? After you have things like that implemented in the game, then we're starting to get to this polished state. It also has some things like the menus and stuff like that. But then you got to fix all the bugs and things like that. So sometime around mid-July the game's ready. Now, it might be missing one or two things. I don't know at what point Leviathan battles will go into the game and stuff like that, for example. I'm not entirely sure. But at some point in mid-July, it's definitely ready to market. What we need is we need because that'll be spectator mode and stuff as well. It'll probably come sometime in July. So, but we need weapons, we need suit amplifiers, and the carousel and scouting. Those things are really important. I think that'll all happen by mid-July. It should all be in there, not necessarily bug-free, but quite polished.
So polished mid-July, marketing
at that point, yeah.
At that point, okay. Sam, thoughts?
My guess it'll go into August because something will get delayed, unfortunately. But that's just dev work in general. I want to take a bit of more of a top-down approach. I mean, Scoriox, I'll ask you this first: how far away is mobile?
Very far. So mobile is an interesting one because the plan is once Arena is polished, then they move on to the overworld, the MMO-Lite, build that out, right? And they've already put Andre's already going over to help start working on the vertical slice. Now, here's the caveat. If the Arena and the marketing and everything starts to go live, and there's actually some really big events like overtime streamers and stuff like that kind of in the works being planned or mostly planned, Kieran's sorting all that out. There's all that sort of stuff kind of kicking off as well, right? If the game gets really popular, it gets sticky, people really enjoy it, the battle pass, people are really liking it and stuff like that. If the game's really good, then Kieran's plan is to double down and do mobile first before the MMO-Lite. Well, they're mostly concurrently. You don't need that many devs to port it to mobile, I don't think. But mobile would become a high priority if the Arena is popular. That's the current internal plan.
So here's my concern from, and I hate to be the negative person, but I feel like I'm just...
no, let's have this conversation.
A little bit more realistic. So let's be honest, right? Say it doesn't even matter about the time frame. Somewhere between June, July, August, they're probably going to go live with Arena. They're going to put marketing funds behind it, TFT players, because at the end of the day, all Web3 people who are interested in Illuvium are playing it right now who would be interested in it unless they wanted free money. If you like an auto battler and you're in Web3, you would be playing the game roughly now or thereabouts. Now, as far as I'm aware, we still have under 1,000 players, as far as I'm aware, maybe under 500. I'm not sure, but I still try and play a game here and there. It doesn't really match make for ages, maybe due to time zones and everything else. And the reason why I say this, Illuvium has a roughly 12 months runway, give or take, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. It doesn't really matter. But they're going to want to do a raise around July, August, right? This is about the money side of things, the investment side. Now, if you want to do a raise, at the evaluation we are, I think a token is like $11 or whatever it may be. They're going to sell those tokens for $6, $5 if nothing happens between now and August. Maybe it goes up, so it might be a bit of a valuation. The problem is that an investor will look at this and they'll go, how many players do you have? And they're going to say, maybe we get a couple of TFT players, a couple of other auto battler games, and say we get 5,000 players. That's not going to be enough for an investor to come in and be like, okay, you guys got a good community, you got a good game, XYZ. They want to see, if it's on mobile, you're going to target Axie Infinity players, Raven Quest players, all those, the other games that want to potentially just make free money or extractors. You're going to have those numbers come in if you had mobile. Now, we don't have mobile, and it's obviously not even close. So what I struggle to see with Illuvium, and it's actually second guessing myself, not the fact that the game will be fun, which I think it will be. I think it'll be much better if you're an auto battler lover. My issue is that it's going to come to August timeframe. They're going to get X amount of numbers in, and an investor won't see that and go, I see the potential here. They're going, I've seen you guys build for 4 years. You've spent $60 million. Phenomenal artwork, phenomenal game. Like, all these things are great, but I'm just trying to think from an investor standpoint. Like, they're not going to give them more money for more runway. So whatever runway we have left, I don't really see much more potential. From an investment side, they're going to have to sell Illuvium tokens. They're going to have to give out rewards in Illuvium tokens. They're going to pay staff in Illuvium tokens. So from an investment side, if you're invested in Illuvium, I don't really see a really good return right now. I'm still invested in the tokens. I have sold some previously, but I just don't know, like, what do you do as Illuvium, as Kieran or anyone else, when you're in this really sticky situation of, I need to raise funds, I need as many players coming in, I need a lot more expenditure, or convince a VC. By the way, Web3 VCs have come in and done gaming for the past 3 years. A lot of them have been burnt, so they're not going to invest into another game. They want the new narrative. They want AI. They want agents doing this and that.
Real world.
You sort of see my point of view here, and I don't know if everyone agrees, but Like, I really do think they're in a really tough situation, even come July, August, with a really good game from an investment standpoint and runway. In saying all of that, I think the game's in a really good position. Yes, soon. Yes, soon. Yes, soon. But I just don't think it'll be enough. I think the MMO is the only way to go that'll get them out. But even then, they're going to have to expect community members to spend money to fund Illuvium's runway. And on top of this, I struggle to see Illuvium Beyond, which is coming out next month. I bet you any money this will be the lowest amount of money made. One, due to market conditions. Two, there's no value in the ILV token as much as it used to be. And I think Illuvium Beyond is a waste of resources in a way, but at the same time, you have to sort of give it to the community because there's people that are invested, they've spent money, and people will tell me Illuvium Beyond makes the most money and all this sort of stuff. Yes, in Wave 1, yes, true. Wave 2, maybe. Wave 3, I struggle to see that because how many devs, artists, and everything have to work on Illuvium Beyond to get it where it is? This is including not necessarily marketing, but it includes like the website, blockchain stuff, everything. It's not just here's the artwork, it's good to go. We spent a couple of $1,000s. If you add up all the staff wages and everything in between, I will struggle to see, and I might be wrong next month, that Illuvium Beyond will not be a flop, but I just see that it's too much everywhere again. And I'll just stop there because I feel like I've rambled long enough. So take that.
One thing I'll ask you guys, right? Actually, I'll ask you guys this one question before I just looked into something. So if it was up to both of you guys, would you say prioritize red pill, blue pill, and not in the pill, just two options? Prioritize the MMO today, or prioritize mobile and localization for Arena today? What would you guys pick?
It's how I see it is it's quite a funny one. Is Arena, like when they had when they were at that fork in the road and they were like, okay, we're going to prioritize one thing at a time. What do we do? And they're like Arena, right? And they chose Arena. At that point, unless you're committed to doing Arena Mobile, maybe you should not have picked Arena. That's kind of where my head's at. I feel like Arena Mobile is the final form, is the polished form of Arena. I don't think it's polished before that. It doesn't hit the right market quite. It doesn't, I don't know. It's hard to justify it a bit. So I would say, but at the same time, I don't want to spend 6 months on mobile. Honestly, I don't know why it would take that fucking long, personally. Like the assets are almost optimized. Really, like once the assets are done, it shouldn't be that hard to port it. I mean, it runs on my Steam Deck. It can probably run on my mobile pretty easily. That's just what I'm saying. But
I don't know.
But I would choose
make any
mobile.
judgment. See, I'm not going to make any judgment whether it's easy or hard. I'm not a dev. I'd be completely ignorant on that topic, so I have no clue at all. But so you'd say mobile.
Well, Unreal, you can just click develop on either PC or mobile or both. So it's got all the built-in tools. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, regardless, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert at this. I'm just asking questions. I don't know, right? The feasibility of it. Sam, what would you say? Yeah, I know this is interesting because I think as a player, you want MMO. But as a business operator, as an investor, what do you actually think is the right thing to do here?
Well, if you're targeting Web3, it's MMO because they only care about the creature capturer and the MMO-Lite. If it's Web2, if you're targeting Web2 TFT players, I don't think you even bother targeting them unless you got mobile, to be honest.
I think they're stuck in a hard position because the pivot chance was probably 6 months ago. And you have to now see whatever they've done. You have to see it through at the end of the day. The issue is marketing is the most, like 50% of your costs, right? If to go to TFT players, these aren't people who are going to play for free. Now you're going to spend, I don't know, my guess would be 300K to 500K or something like that is my assumption. It could be more on these players, hoping that works to get the investment from VCs. I think what they should do in this situation right now is they have to see it through. I would remove anyone who is irrelevant in the team, even in regards to art. After this wave of Beyond, I would stop it all, confine it all, and then focus on the MMO. And then I would release the MMO in segments. And the way I would do this is if one region is ready or whatever it may be. So step one, I would be like marketing. It's all marketing, right? Everything. You could sell a terrible product as long as you got the right marketing. Shit, we sell lolly water as long as you got good marketing, right? So I feel like with the MMO-Lite, do this arena thing. Sure, I personally don't think it'll be super successful, but hopefully they can get the funding they need. And then I would focus on the MMO-Lite and bring it out in stages. So yell, scream at the top of your lungs, marketing, PR firms, everything, influencers. We have multiplayer. So bring in multiplayer. Okay, let people run around for 2-3 weeks, and sure, that's the new thing. But then, hey guys, Secret's coming out in 3 weeks. Be ready. And then the next thing could be like one raid boss or one quest, or not one quest, but like one little thing that they can get addicted to and go, okay, then we grew that out. And yes, the downside to that is it's like a stepping ladder, but I don't see any other option. You can't really come out and go, here's the questing, here's the multiplayer, here's the raid bosses, here's everything, because that's going to take too long to build. You need to bring some revenue in. So I feel like you need to do something like that in a stepping way possible. Like get one region done, even if it's like the lower ground, like MVP.
They are talking about that, right, with the vertical slice, and something that I know that you're very much aware of, but similar to a RuneScape Dragon Wilds, with the one final quest, something like that. I mean, they kind of mentioned that is the idea with the vertical slice and Brightland Steps.
They do want to get it out earlier rather than later, yeah, which is sure. Good. I agree.
Your low-hanging fruit is Web3 players, and they're at if you tweet about it and go, guys, there's now this capture thing, there's this power word style, they will 100% check it out if they like that style of game. If anyone is in Web3, likes auto battlers, they would already be in there. If you show them this and they have the PC available to use it, you will target these low-hanging fruits quite easily instead of spending money on Facebook ads and whatever other way marketing things you guys would do.
I'll be honest. I actually think I would say mobile. And I'll tell you why I say mobile. And it's not just mobile, it's mobile and localization. Because I think that would take, I don't know, again, this is purely assumptions. I would assume that takes a lot less time than getting that vertical slice of the MMO-Lite. And if we're, in terms of a polished product, it's already, like we say, somewhat polished, and it can get to that point. And I'll ask you guys, right? In terms, I've just done some research on the side here. Research meaning ChatGPT. But what percentage of TFT players do you think come from the United States? Throw out random numbers.
Not many.
1%.
I would say 10 to 13%.
Cool. Okay, I'll say it's 17%.
Oh, so, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. China. What do you think it is in China?
Is it Asia or China?
China specific.
70,
probably like
70.
35% or something.
That's wild. 30 to 35%. So 30 to 35% of TFT players are coming from a country.
I'm a god.
Which you can't. They don't operate with English games. They need localization. Bro, I go out to whiskey bars out here, and there are guys at the bar on their iPad playing TFT. I see chicks in line waiting to order food playing TFT on their mobile. The auto battle genre is huge in China, but it doesn't mean anything unless we have mobile. And mobile alone, I keep saying this, isn't enough. It's localization. Number 2, South Korea, 13%. Japan, 3%. We're looking, I got the exact number here. We're looking at about 50% of TFT players are coming from regions where English is not an option. It's not like Germany, France, Italy, where they can deal with English. 50% of players from TFT don't even entertain the idea of English. They're hard blocked by that language barrier. So mobile in all these countries is how they play games. We need to localize it. And I think that it's much easier to do that and actually give it a proper chance. Web3, Web2, I think that countries like China, South Korea, Japan are way more open to the idea of crypto and earning, that a female playing TFT on a mobile can tell her boyfriend, hey, I made some money playing this game. They're already open to the game. They know that a US dollar asset is, I mean, I'm being a little bit more specific now, but if they're earning something in US dollars goes a lot further in Japan, South Korea, or China than it does in the United States. It's much more appealing to them.
How long does it take to localize something? Does anyone even know? To me, it sounds like if you're going to target TFT players, if it's just the English people, I understand. But if you want to go full heavy marketing TFT players in July, August, how long does it take Chinese language to get everything ready?
I mean,
I think it's the ongoing. You got to hire someone that does that, I think.
And then take care of the community.
But even with AI, it can't be that.
For an initial localization and stuff.
I'll say this:
Google.
I I spent some time. I gave every alluvial that we have a Chinese name. That part's done. And I've seen the initial the initial like translations for everything. I reviewed it all. The Chinese part like the base foundation of it is pretty much done. Yes, we might need to hire one person to keep it localized, but I think the potential, and I don't know, I could be completely wrong here, but I think the potential of 30 to 35% of the market that we're aiming for is worth that one hire. I don't know. But I think that if we really want to give Arena the proper shot that it deserves, it's not in English.
The last thing I'll say on that...
Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, tell us in chat if you think I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say on that is I'm not convinced MMO-Lite and Stages is going to generate revenue. I don't know if the MMO-Lite is going to generate revenue before Set 2 comes out. I think Set 2 is the key revenue driver for the MMO-Lite, whereas with Battle Pass is for the auto battler. That's what I'm saying.
Is that not for MMO-Lite?
Why would you have a battle pass? I mean, maybe, but I don't know how good that's going to be for an MMO-Lite.
Well, World of Warcraft, right? That's the way I pitch it. Now, I don't know.
Does World of Warcraft have a battle pass?
Yeah, so you get the first 20 levels free, and if you want to play the game or whatever, you buy the game and have subscription-based.
Yeah, but they didn't talk about a subscription-based thing at all in the MMO-Lite.
But that's a battle pass, though.
No, battle pass is a little bit different. But yeah.
Sorry, so I'll say this. I have no context of this. I'm sure battle pass for MMO-Lite is a thing. But not when it's in the vertical slice.
Yeah, but not when it's in the early stages. You need the proper game before you can do that. But you can we're adding a battle pass to Illuvium, and if you had say 100, 200k players because it's on mobile and everything, and you got a couple % of them buying the battle pass every month, then that's consistent revenue you're generating permanently. Basically, that's a good stat to show a future investor. That's the stat you want, and I don't think you get that from the MMO-Lite within 6 to 12 months. I think you can get that from mobile Arena within 6 to 12 months. So if we're talking from a revenue perspective, I think mobile is the obvious.
I think Illuvium has to focus. Illuvium has to focus. Illuvium has to ask themselves one question: how do we bring in as much money as possible to extend our runway? Whatever that VCs or revenue coming from players, that's probably what they have to look at.
Money or players. As long as they can prove one of those things on a large scale, it makes sense that they're like, okay, cool. If you can bring in 100,000 players,
but they're not going to bring in. Let's be honest, they're going to bring in max 20k max.
If you're on mobile, you could bring in way more for sure.
I think if you're on mobile, that changes completely.
Yeah,
I think on mobile that changes completely.
Pixels Online is like 200k players, and it's just
how
like
many
a bot
bots?
farm.
How many bots?
Yeah, but what if we have bots on Arena? That's fine.
What the fuck?
No, because you will get bots. Don't get me wrong. Like it doesn't matter. Let's go on some new subjects.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's I think it could be like almost as good as TFT. Then why couldn't you get 100k players? If you market it,
you could over time. But I'm just concerned on runway reinvestments. People actually wanting to spend money in this game. There's many factors that I think of that I'm like, how do they make money and how do they extend their runway for long enough without absolutely destroying the Illuvium token?
I think that's a mobile Arena.
One thing that comes to mind right now is that this is a very interesting time to be a part of the community and kind of witness everything. Like the quote of I'm probably going to butcher this, but a smooth sea doesn't make a good sailor. It's like this is the time where it's like, okay, cool. Are we really going to figure this one out? Because it is like look at all three of us. We've all got different takes on it. Let's see how it all plays out. Let's see how these guys, like I say, if they can right the ship, it's going to be it's just an interesting time, and I'm here for it. I'm very much here for it.
Let's see.
Yeah.
No, Shady J, I meant after localization. When I say mobile, I say mobile and localization together always. Okay, I'm not saying mobile on its own ever.
But we need to make that clear, because I think when we hear mobile, a lot of the English speakers completely forget that, oh shit, there are other languages out there. There's a world out there.
I always mean localization as well. I've said that before. I say it again.
Can I say a side quest before we get into the next bit? It's literally going to take 1 minute. What's the go with like Kieran and that having like side projects of like guacamole or something and this other thing? Isn't that taking time of resources off Illuvium, or like time at least? Like even if it takes up 2%, or has he got nothing to do, or is he busy, or what's this guacamole thing? Does anyone know?
Guanciale.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know, man. I'm assuming it's just like outside of work hours.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
He's not doing it while he's working at Illuvium and stuff.
Right. Okay. I just thought again. I thought it might be the resources going into that, and as a side project. I didn't understand it all.
No,
but,
it's got nothing to do with the Illuvium.
Okay.
Although, like, on that note, his connection to that gave us an entire partnership, right? So
with virtuals.
Yeah, he talked to the virtuals guy ages ago. Guan Charlie, his one was like
Right.
the third or fourth one that ever launched on that platform.
Okay.
So through all that, he launched on the platform because he met one of their members from their team and stuff at maybe at a networking event or something like that.
Sure.
And so he got to know the team and things like that. And then that he did as his own side thing. But then eventually he was like, oh, I know this guy. Let me try and set up this partnership. And so he did. So obviously it has its benefits in a certain sense as well. So we can't discount that. But yeah, he's not doing he's just in his own time. And he usually just hires people to do this shit and pays them. He doesn't actually like do any of it himself.
Sure.
As far as I'm aware.
Okay.
He might tweet about it every now and then, but he doesn't actually like do any work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, finding people is doing work. You know what I mean? Okay.
Next subject.
So in the arena, the path finding actually works via hex distance, not radial distance, which is actually really interesting because I guess if something's in your way, it's going to check how many hexes to get around that thing, and then it's going to check for that sort of stuff. So it's looking for pathways rather than actual like what's closest to him, which is really cool. And they're looking at increasing the hex sizes to make this more obvious. If targeting something very far away when something else is close happens, it's a bug or related or whatever. Okay, but really cool. I'm looking forward to when they increase the hex size. I think this is going to improve a lot. The other thing is for all the patches and things that are happening with the Illuvium Arena, it is not a focus to make sure that it's perfectly balanced. We had planned to get these features done over 2 to 3 months. We're at April, and we should have working versions of all of them next week for internal testing to go along with what I was saying before. Getting a balance patch right for a game that's going to have 5 new features that totally throw off balance is just a waste. The big thing is augments are getting a complete overhaul revamp, basically, because of the way the new systems are working. So if the augments are imbalanced, that's probably by design in a certain sense. The other thing is with this Illuvium Arena, Aaron gave a really cool update on everything. So he said that bugs and connections, yes, it's still not perfect. We're getting through all the problems. The game's felt more stable for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but yeah. So occasionally there are some new issues created when we add new features, but we're doing what we can. It's going to be rough for the next couple months as we add the rest of the features. Keep in mind, we're trying to catch up to games that have been around for 5 years, so it does take time. A lot of people discount this. Like a game will like come out with like a really base set of features, and then over the next 10 years, they'll like build up all those features. And then the new game has to compete with a 10-year-old game that's had 10 years to build shit. And it's just really, really hard. So the other thing is with balance, it's not going to be perfect. There's not much we can do here without massively slowing down progress. So they're getting patches out, but they're trying not to do too much of that stuff. We're really close on a few features, which will shake up the game and make it way more fun. And the remaining features aren't far behind. Auto balancing is underway, and you'll really like how we do it. Put it this way, I'm sure that the comp wins against everything type complaints will drop away once people realize that other comps are more powerful in the right situations. I think bonding will help that a lot, and it will just like allow you to bring so many other sorts of compositions online more often. We have a leak from Roger here from the new Beyond Wave 4. I think that's going to show off the background and stuff like that. We saw it on Going Hyper. We've also got this leak here for the draft deck. I've got the video downloaded. I'm just going to say it. Draft deck is a really stupid name.
Why?
I don't know. It should be just draft something else. Draft is fine. Or just draft. Just make it draft.
It should just be one word, yeah.
It's just an internal name, though, right?
I'm hoping.
Put it in the UI. It's not an internal name once it's in the UI, man.
Dan, we're still calling it auto drone runs. we just need a simple thing.
Just tell me in chat. Do you guys like draft deck? I think it's stupid.
What's it referring to? I'm confused. What's draft deck mean?
I think it's referring to the carousel.
Okay,
I think
carousel.
Someone said that deck is referring to the deck of the ship, which could be the case. So it's kind of like it's on the deck of one of the Leviathan ships or whatever it is. I still think it's stupid. I don't like it. Okay, so Roger had some stuff to post about Illuvium Beyond Wave 4. The big thing was that 1,000 ILV would be distributed as weekly rewards for the Wave 4 leaderboard, and then 1,000 ILV, like before, would be saved for the final leaderboard to keep people kind of updating their scores and their albums and things like that throughout the course of the wave a bit more for the wave 4 leaderboard if people are competing on that. I like this change. I was advocating for this when they first brought the wave leaderboard to me. Not this exactly. I think 50-50 is good. I wish I suggested that myself. I did not.
Is that,
yeah, so I think
is that weekly 1,000? Is that a total of like 10,000 hours?
No. It's 1,000 split up across the weeks.
Okay.
And then we have this one here. We have the Crystal Shores battle board. Very cool. Now, here's the funny thing to me. If we kept this exact style, now this might just not be fully rendered yet or whatever. If we kept this exact style for every single region, it would run on all kinds of computers right now. And I'm kind of more in that favor of that sort of stuff nowadays after Monster Hunter's backlash, to be honest. I just wanted to run. I just wanted to be accessible to more people. People seem to like that. I think you can still have things look good and be accessible to all PCs. Is very, very easy. I think League is pretty good testament to that. Even Dota, I think you can play it on most PCs.
Absolutely agree with you on this.
Okay, the next two leaks. One of the main menu screens. I don't think this one's coming. Actually, this one I think will be coming in the next update. The next big update.
This is a great main menu. Phenomenal.
This in particular. All of that is so good. But sometimes I just go like, are they making it harder to port to mobile? like you need it. Like this is more advanced than when you're in the game. This is probably harder on your hardware. This is probably worse for mobile. Like you can have this PC and then do a mobile version, but you're making your life harder. Just focus on the mobile development at this point. Why are we? I don't know.
It looks cool though, to be fair, but you're probably right.
Looks really cool. Okay. So the next one is this. Set Luvatar animation. I don't know why we needed that. I do like the points pop up and everything like that. It shows the rarity and stuff. Actually, you know what? Really great update. Hopefully it didn't take him too long to make that bad boy.
Nice.
After that, Stuart did say that for Beyond rewards and things, which are pretty consistently delayed, they're working on the automation for all of that, which is really cool to see. Yeah.
1 second. I don't know if anyone noticed this. Sam just had his food delivered to him by, I don't know, God knows who, with drinks and all.
Yes.
Mad props for that.
I didn't see it.
And, mobile gamers in 2025. I don't play mobile games at all, but 68% of worldwide gamers play on smartphones and tablets. So if we're not optimizing for that, that's not even like a 50%, a Kit Kat. Bro, how are you going to get muscles like that? Yes, 68%. 68%. 68% is a big thing. 37% is PC, 32 or console. So, like, if we're not optimizing our main games, yes, 0 is on mobile. But if we're not optimizing Arena and no, I mean that, not saying that we're not optimizing. I know we are. But in terms of the importance of it, are we really giving ourselves the best chance of success? 68. All I'm going to say again, 68% of gamers are mobile gamers.
Who's the biggest spenders? Probably mobile.
The big. What you mean by platform?
Doesn't really matter.
I don't think I don't think individual user spend is as high per game, but because they come in sheer numbers, yeah, they.
By country, I believe number one is China. Number 2 is America. Number 3 is South Korea, Japan, and then Germany. They're the top 5 in terms of revenue generated by. And what's crazy, I didn't need to research that. I remember that. But that's revenue generated in the gaming industry. So China based on numbers alone, America based on revenue, Japan revenue, and so on and so forth.
And in-app purchases are not affected by tariffs, if you didn't know.
But again, I just wanted to say this. Think about the top 5. China, USA, Japan, South Korea, Germany. 3 of the top 5 by revenue are the countries that I mentioned that are hard blocked by language. Germans can speak English. Chinese cannot. Japanese cannot. South Korean cannot. So, like, the fact that it's not a priority, and I'm not saying it's not. I don't know that, right? But for me, I'm looking at that and I'm like, yo, shit. Especially me living in a country where I'm always around it, I see it. Where when people around here in China send me video games, they're sending me video games with Chinese names. And then I realize, oh, they're talking about Path of Exile. Like, even the title of the game, they don't call it Diablo 4 Path of Exile. They send me the Chinese name. Like, that's how important
Diablo
it is.
isn't Path of Exile.
I'm saying both of those games, they've sent it to me in their Chinese names,
not
the English names. And that's the title of the game, not even the internal game things. So when they refer to things, they refer to it by the Chinese name. And that is so, so important.
Yeah, and I play a mobile a lot more than I thought I did, to be honest. It's just really specific games I hate playing. Anything with like 2 joysticks fucking shits me.
That's
like,
because
anything that's like a shooter and stuff is stupid on mobile. But I enjoy my little strategy games and stuff.
Yeah, you're Gen Z. You're used to that shit.
And I love the Steam Deck. No. Steam Deck is the future, man. Like handheld console gaming is the fucking future.
Switch you mean a Switch
announcement? Yeah. It's gonna get bigger and bigger. PlayStation just announced, I think, for their next console, they're actually doing a portable one. Like a Steam Deck sort of thing.
Look, I can go into this shit. We'll move on to the next thing, but fucking just make sure that the PS5 actually gets its fucking money's worth. They've done nothing with that shit. They're talking about the next console already.
Okay. So the next thing is Corito said here, and I'm putting this up because Steven and Trevor said it sounds like a good idea. He says skins are only supposed to be cosmetics, but I think it would be cool if there was to give a small specialization bonus to the suit they were used on. Like if you used a Titan Ore skin, it would give a 10% bonus to base stat on resist and HP of that suit.
It's pretty cool.
Kind of like Monster Hunter here, right? Like if you get an Ajarakan armor, it's got resistance to fire. And it sounds like they're on board with it. I had the message down here somewhere. Perry and I discussing this actively, hope to have a plan set soon. So, yeah, clearly it's going to be a part of the plan. Actually, what was my favorite thing from the town hall, which we'll talk about in just a moment, was all of the stuff regarding the, what does they call it? They call it the affix system and the level up trees and stuff. Yeah. This one here, we'll have to tune those down initially with the movement mechanics and things like that, and unlock more of that capability through progression. And then we've got this proposal from Jagger Knight where he wants to reduce the IMC from 3750 to 1250, ICC from 1500 to 500, and ICC, it's actually the IMC liaison. I don't know why you call it that. From 2250 to 750, restoration, full decentralization. He actually wants to move from 4 elected members to 5. I just think you have to have a labs member on there. So if there's not one elected by the people, then they should appoint one and have a 6th person without voting power. That's just me.
Yes.
And this says 41 upvotes. So it'll be going to vote soon. They just want to, they're talking about revising it to create a sliding scale. So if the DAO brings in X amount of revenue, then council gets paid more. I think it's silly. The council doesn't really help drive revenue. They're more about token price. So I actually want to
pay everyone $0.
Yes.
I've suggested $0 many times and it didn't take.
Let me be real. At the end of the day, if people got paid $0 for this, you know who you'd have in there? Dedicated hardcore Illuvium people who love the game passionately, who want to do it for free. To me, since many years ago, I've always thought it's been a waste of money, like ridiculously a waste of money. I mean, $0 could be a stretch, sure, but I'd still probably propose that. People do stuff because, like, you don't. It doesn't matter.
Let me say this, Sam. I don't know of the payment of it. For the sake of the conversation, I actually agree with you. But in terms of let's take my bias out of this, right? I don't know, and I'm not an expert at this, and I'm always going to say, but I'm not an expert at anything. I don't know if the payment has something to do with the legality of a DAO and decentralization. And okay. So but again, I don't know if it needs to be that high. Could we achieve the same thing with $1? Could we find that balance where we get around the loop? I don't know any of these things, but in theory, on premise, I do agree with you that we should have people that just genuinely want to be doing it for the sake of doing it, rather than
it's very nuanced. It's very nuanced with the liability stuff. Like technically, a council member always has a level of risk. if people come after them and things like that. So the payment is kind of to offset that. But at the same time, if you got paid $0 and then you did get taken to court, the judge would be like, well, this person didn't even get any money. Like, maybe they shouldn't be liable for this, and that kind of maybe throw it out, So it reduces risk a little bit in a certain sense as well if you get paid less. And so there's two sides. It's very nuanced, but really it's a DAO, it's a new organization. It kind of doesn't really have any rules either way.
Let's be honest, if they really went to court, Illuvium would still be under fire. Even though legally they're fine, they would still attack Illuvium because they're the ones with the money. That's how they make money. It's a business,
Yeah, pretty much.
Yo, engagement, chat. Let us know if you would be down to be on council for $0. Let us know.
I would be down. I'm down after this epoch. I'm tired. I'm just so tired. But if it was 0 pay 2 years ago when I first signed up, I would have done it all over again.
So would have I. Now I wouldn't do it.
But yeah, no. So I'm tired. I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of the new people put themselves up for election and things like that, which actually starts really soon, by the way.
I'll be straight. If it was $0, I'd be willing to put my name in, just for the sake of seeing what's up. Endorse me, thank you, my man.
I don't know. My name seems to carry a lot of weight. I did get 25% of the votes, man.
Yeah.
People seem to listen to what I say when it comes to council stuff. What do you want from me?
No, cool. Endorse me, please.
You're good at spreadsheets.
Yeah, just put a spreadsheet with my name on it.
yeah. Let's do it. All right. We got only a few things left before we jump into MMO-Lite talk. Our auto drone run on the mobile is actually pretty cool. I'm going to briefly look at it. It pops up with the Abyssal Basin, and then you get the animation and everything, obviously. And you get the cards. You can actually swipe through them before you even reveal them. You tap them to reveal, and you can swipe through them. I've actually done this before myself. Not enough people talk about this. It's a little bit laggy, obviously. There's a lot going on the screen at any given time. But it's really, really sweet. You can see the bounty recap, collector cards, and stuff like that. It's a really great setup for the game. We're going to post from me. I just want to say thank you to everyone for putting in my referral code for the Illuvium Alliance program. Don't forget to enter it in the settings.
No.
What's so funny?
That's fucking jokes. I mean,
what's your creator code again? Is it Scoriox?
It's Scoriox. Scoriox. Scoriox.
Oh, thanks for that.
I've used your for the record. I've used your creator code since it was started.
Yeah, but I told you about the fuel crate before.
Yeah, correct. You shouldn't have.
I already got my money.
We spoke about that in Discord the other day. But anyways,
yeah.
Who did?
We did. No. Sam was. I was like, I bought all this fuel with Stripe. It makes life easy. And Sam's like, you don't need to. You can do it. I was like, Sam, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And I'm trying.
Literally.
What's up? Yeah, I was like, yo, don't tell him. And Dick was like, yo, everyone knows, bro. Just buy this shit from fuel crates. And I was like, okay, yeah, fair play.
All right. So the next thing we've got is someone just bought out the floor of Tier 3 land, which is really cool to see. Nothing available below 0.3 anymore. Interestingly, Illuvium land has been a steady uptrend since the economy reform and release of single fuel. It's good. There's been a lot more volume on land, which has been really cool.
Can we talk about land or zero?
And the MMO-Lite. Yeah, we can in a sec. The plan for the vertical slice is a vertical slice focus. This is the last one on Brightland Steps, adding a combat and other gameplay. Want to build some kind of microcosm of our overall progression plan for Rangers. Content will be focused on open world exploration and the complexity. A completely revamped ARPG combat with some fresh new enemies to punch, capped off with an epic boss encounter. Actually, I think that's a really good idea too. We'll talk about that soon, I guess.
Cool.
Right.
Yo, one thing I gotta say, I was sexy ass. I realized just then, I was like, yo, these fucking good ass lips. Pink as shit, colorful. Mine, bro. Look at this shit. Anyway.
Someone stop him.
Stop this guy. No. But no, Zero. Hold that thought and the land stuff. Because it's actually something that I've got on this list that they brought up with the MMO thing. I'm keen to get. I don't really have too many thoughts on it. Keen to get your thoughts. But let's go down this list if you're cool with that. So
I'm ready.
Some of the shit that they've talked about with the MMO stuff is, number one, the Ranger progression. We've discussed it already with kind of like the web of growth. It reminds me actually a lot of RuneScape. I know we've been jamming a little bit, but
So good.
crafting, cooking, and what they've kind of mentioned reminds me a bit of that, of fire, earth, air. Well, what are the classes again? Bulwark, fighter. Like, it reminds me very much of bro. You've got it exactly perfect. Like, it actually reminds me a lot of that, and I think there's a lot of cool shit with this. Where if you get fighter up to X point, earth up to X point, you unlock a special ability. So, like, I really, really like this, because one of the main things that has been an issue right now is that there's just nothing. One of the big things with the game is that you want to grind for something. And right now, outside of alluvials, there's nothing to grind for. Okay, you can get perfect stat alluvials, but that's, one, too difficult, not rewarding enough. We've played RuneScape, Sam, and bro, how many times did we level up immediately? We were getting those dopamine hits, receptors going off quickly. Bro, we just unlocked this skill. Yo, did you unlock this? Bop, bop, bop. Oh, we unlocked. It's constantly going. Capturing alluvials and getting high stat alluvials doesn't come that often. So it doesn't give you that rush. So I think what they've spoken about in terms of the fact, look, I'm not going to give them credit for thinking about that we need ranger progression. That seems very obvious.
Yeah.
But in terms of the idea that they presented, fantastic.
I think it's really cool. I think it's
very
really
excited for it. I think there's a lot that they can do, and likewise with like I don't know if you know. I think you've played. I haven't. I won't lie. I've seen this meme online. Sam, I think you played RuneScape, but there's this RuneScape meme of level 92 was halfway to level 99. Right? I don't know if you know that. Yeah. So I think with this idea of 5 classes, 5 affinities, we can actually get that. Level 99 is halfway to level 9. Like a level 92 is halfway to level 9. We've got that kind of thing there. So I like what they're proposing, and I'm very excited about it. And it's good to hear them speak about it. And I love the transparency in which they're talking about it with the community, so we can give that feedback and have these discussions. That's my take on the first side of what do you guys think?
The other thing I like is I never really thought about affinities and classes that way. I'd always thought about affinities and classes as an arena mechanic. But I like, because the alluvials are the heart of every future game for Illuvium and stuff like that. But the ranger is also really important. And I think the affinities and classes being a big ranger thing that goes throughout all the different games in the future and stuff, and something that ties the entire ecosystem together, a consistent factor throughout everything. Because, well, the alluvials already kind of have that tied to them, right? A fiery's fire in every game, right? Tying that sort of thing into the game of the MMO-Lite is really important. And I like that they're utilizing that in pretty much every facet of the MMO-Lite. I think that's really cool.
What's your take on it, Sam, after you're done chewing the shrimp?
Sorry. I'm very strict on my, well, not necessarily diet, but just schedule.
Matt said that while eating a Kit Kat.
No, I mean, Illuvium can go in so many directions. It's very hard to combat which way to go. Like, and I genuinely mean this. It is the best art thought process I've ever seen in a very, very long time. Their choice of art, concept, the way they've designed everything, absolutely the best of the best. When I talk about every game I've ever played, better than World of Warcraft or anything. Like, I could afford, like, it's as good as Pokemon as it was when Pokemon was really popular, even though it's popular now. But I mean, when it first came out, like, it's got that IP. The issue is the delivery on gameplay or the way they've structured just hasn't hit yet. And I can understand back in the day, like, okay, this makes sense. Like, people pay for fuel, they do a run, then they get certain items, and then there's a marketplace. On paper, that works. But in game, it did not work. So I understand why they tried that. So I feel like I don't really care what it is, but it has to give you that same in-gaming presence of, hey, I level up really quickly, give you that emotional connection at the start of the game, whether that's, it doesn't even matter. Like, even if there was like diamonds, wood, the general survivability thing, you take it back and then you go to Illuvium 0 and do it. I don't give a shit about any future game, because to me, the only 3 games that matter are the ones I have now, because there won't be a future. It doesn't matter about the Netflix series and stuff. Yeah. So they need to, whatever the gameplay loop is, that's going to bring in money and make it super, super fun with that IP. I don't care how they do it. So if it's talent trees, if whatever, they've got all the tools there, and they've got like 1 or 2 more chances to really hit. Otherwise, they're fucked.
Can I say this? Because you saying that 1,000%, 10,000%, I agree. The IP is phenomenal. The reason why I got into it, the reason why many of us got into it. But we always hear, or we always kind of had these conversations about, oh man, we got to cut the art team.
Yeah, because no, we do. Because you shouldn't be working on something so far in the future that doesn't make sense now. As an example, when I say art team, let me be more specific. As in, we shouldn't be working on region 5, 6, and 7. That is so stupid and pointless because it obviously takes a lot of time.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. So I agree with that. Should we be working on set 2?
Set 2 should be very easy and simple for this time around. It shouldn't be. It should be just the same alluvials with different character, like ice, ramfire. It doesn't matter.
So
keep it
no
to a
new
minimum.
alluvials.
Just set 2 has to be absolute minimum. Like maybe have like, you know, when World of Warcraft came out with Cataclysm and Lich King and stuff, they added 1 new thing. Oh, okay. So what happens anyways, if you have an expansion, normally a game will bring in like 1 new character, 1 new class, right? Keep all the illusions the same, but bring in 1 new line. And that's it, right? That saves on dev work and stuff. You don't have the money to do anything crazy right now. Just do everything the same, change the ice and all that sort of stuff and give it the abilities, except change and just add that 1 affinity line, and that'll keep everyone happy because that saves your resources ginormously trying to come up with a million different ideas and new creatures and stuff like that. Even though they could do it, they do not have the funds to do it. So
the balance that I'd say is maybe
important.
find. Yeah, the balance that I'd say is find 5, 6 new lines, reuse a couple.
No chance.
I think I don't know. I think find a
My
balance.
opinion.
Yeah. Of course, this is all just opinions here, but it's funny, right? And I don't know where I lean either way, but I think I'm trying to find the nuance in this where we talk about it with the IP being so great, and it's true, but the IP and the artwork of it all, the design of it all, is actually like the majority of the credit. I think it's safe to say goes to the art team.
100%.
And then when it comes to the cutting, well, like who's the first to go? The art team. Because
they've done their job and there's enough there in the art department to make something amazing. That's why. It's not like they've done something wrong. It's
actually,
that's enough.
I would have agreed with you, but the MMO-Lite talk actually changed my opinion on that. They were talking about adding all these new enemies and these different factions you have to fight and stuff like that. I think that's all integral to making the MMO-Lite a fun gaming experience. Now, they should have done that by now. We should have had all that. But that is something we need the art team for. We need to make all that.
The enemies are pretty much already done, right? We've seen them on the leaks, right? I believe most of that's done or getting done anyway. Like,
no,
I don't know
way more than that.
But what we've seen, Sam, is the models. We haven't seen the VFX, the SFX, or all of these things with their attacks. There's a lot of other stuff that comes with it that we haven't seen yet. So the models, yes, maybe we've seen the models, but and again, I'm not saying I lean one way or the other. I'm just trying to find that middle ground.
The art team also has to make
both sides.
They also have to make all the areas you find, the new obelisk, the new treasure troves, and some of the environments for the Breach game and stuff like that. That's going to be inside the MMO-Lite, which I also thought was a really great use of that. But like, it's important. The art team still has to make a bunch of stuff. Okay, it just is. I think set 2 is actually really, really important. I don't think revenue comes without set 2. Honestly, that's just, and we don't have quite enough alluvials.
So hang on, when Overworld launches, are you thinking like I'm curious here? Are you guys thinking that set 1 is nothing to do with in Overworld? It's just set 2 alluvials, and that's how they sort of restart it.
That's what I would lean towards.
I'd like to see, but you don't do. You still have some set 1 alluvials, but you definitely sunset a bunch of them, and that also increases demand for ADR and stuff because they're like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to get a Ramfire next week. I need to buy a bunch now, or like buy a bunch of ADR and stuff like that. And it's just like it stimulates the entire economy because it's like, oh, Illuvium's actually serious about stopping sets. Right now, people don't know. They're like, oh, Ramfire is going to last the next 5 years. We've probably got plenty of time to buy this stuff, so we don't need to buy it at all. What makes Illuvium Beyond make any money at all is the fact that it stops, right? And you have to prove that it's going to stop in some way, shape, or form. But really, we don't have enough alluvials yet. 100. We have 100 lines, basically, because tier 0's a little bit uninspired. I mean, yeah, they're fine. We got 5 lines there, right? 5 lines of tier 0's and 5 lines of Lynxes. But outside of that, we have 100 lines. Not enough yet. It's just not.
Oh,
So
we
I
don't
just
have
I want to
100.
So not 100 lines. We have 30 lines, which is not enough.
I want to understand then, like, say Overworld opens tomorrow, right? Like, explain to me how you guys are thinking that, okay, so set 2 comes into this, and then what? There's not going to be as many like the automated drone runs or something. Like, how do you see that being like valuable NFTs or something? Or you don't? You just see it the same as it was before? How do you see the restart? I'm confused on that.
I don't know yet with the ADR. That's what I was saying again is I kind of like their new plan more than I like ADR. But at the same time, it's just more about like excitement. It's like you'll have the actual option. You'd be like, I could do an ADR to try and get these new alluvials, or I can go and fight them in the overworld, which would be really fun. And at least you'll actually want to fight them in the overworld. I don't want to fight a Ramfire.
But why can't you start this with set 1 though? What? Explain to me why you cannot start.
I don't want to fight a Ramfire in the overworld. I own a bunch of them.
Okay, so you're basically saying that set 1 isn't valuable anymore because there's so many out there now. Set 2
Well,
is
it's just less. It's less interesting to the core audience, which is still someone we need to cater to a little bit.
Right.
I disagree. I disagree on that because I think the core audience is small enough, and it sounds horrible that the core audience is who's listening to us right now. But I think objectively, the core audience is small enough that we need to neglect that.
Okay.
And say what's for the better, what's for the greater good.
Take it this way then. The core audience has managed to acquire Ramfires for 1 cent on the dollar for the past couple months until we fixed all the fuel systems. Okay. Once the game comes out, we talk about those egg systems and stuff like that, where you can get like a Ramfy egg and it takes you a while to hatch it, and you could spend maybe $1 to speed up that. Why are you going to spend $1 to speed up that when you can buy Ramfy for 1 cent? Because everyone got basically free handouts and all the rest of it.
Don't get it twisted, Scoriox. I think I think the idea is right. I don't agree with your justification.
My justification is there's no point in capturing a Ramfy in the new overworld because you can get it on the marketplace for nothing.
And that I agree with. But the justification of the core audience wants something new. That I disagree with.
Yeah, I want that too.
My justification is a supply demand thing. And to answer your question, Sam, I think it depends on the amount of new alluvials, right? The amount of new lines. How does that get implemented? If we only have one new line and remix a couple of the others, does that work? I don't know. Do we have 5 new lines, 3 new lines, and remix a couple? Does that work? I don't know.
I think it's a money issue. I think if they do a raise towards the end of the year, then it's okay. But if they don't get it, if they don't have the capital to do so, then
I think one of the things that is working for them in terms of the new lines is that a lot of the I don't know the actual technical term for it, but a lot of the skeletons are made. A lot of the so like
the rigs.
I mean, they're not idiots, right? They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna be like, okay, look, it'll take us 3 weeks to do this, 7 weeks to do this.
They can optimize.
If they have time to do more, they will.
Here's the other thing. A
lot of the rigs are made, so they don't need to redo the rigs from scratch. If they're making a quadrupedal alluvial, they're not starting from fucking scratch.
And this is information we don't have. So if they can do it quickly, then sure, it's in their budget.
They can. It's
what can you do that can still excite people that can keep it on a minimum budget?
It's the concepting that's hard. It's not anything else. So like you're like, I want to make another squid creature, but I've got to come up with a really cool idea.
Do you know
that doesn't look like squids.
Do you guys know how they're going to burn the alluvials? I think we have over just 1 million alluvials, and I know that still could be a lot and not a lot, like depending on who you ask, and like there's going to be more players coming in and stuff like this. But the reason why I say this is what's interesting to me is so many people have tried Illuvium, right? There's like 80,000, probably 100,000 wallets in total over the course of the last just under a year or so, right? So if you do this big hype thing and go, hey guys, we're burning alluvials for XYZ. I don't know what it's for. Maybe a lot of those players come back with you and you do the overworld, but what are the alluvial burning mechanisms? Has that been spoken about or no?
Okay, so
really.
It hasn't. The details haven't been spoken about, but it has been somewhat.
Sell them for fuel?
No, and I don't know how much credit we put on this or how much weight we put on this. I am putting a little bit of weight on it, but the fact that they're saying, and it's one of the points that I've got here, quote from the town hall, we want strong reasons to use assets so we don't end up with inflation problems. And I feel like they understand. I feel like prior to this, I won't say we didn't have enough people on it or enough thought to it. I don't know the situation. But the fact that these guys have come on, and it's one of the things that they've spoken about, thought about up front, is good. The other thing that he did mention, I don't have the exact same Put the webcam. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, we need to shut on him again. One of the other things that they did say was that they've got some really interesting and exciting ideas. We don't know what that is. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Based on everything else that they've said, I think that they're fucking good at what they're doing. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise. And so they've mentioned that they've got good ideas on burning mechanics and what they can do with it. Again, Scoriox, I would fucking love to get them on the podcast and we can grill them a bit. Now that I'm not on the team, I can just grill them. We can grill them. I think that'd be fucking cool.
In May.
But yeah, cool. Absolutely. But I'm very keen to hear what they've got to say.
How would you go? What would you do to burn the alluvials?
Levels at first. Or the other thing is the egg system they were talking about is really cool. So they were talking about. Let me grab the slide. Hold on.
So in other words, you would burn, say, 10 atlases, and it's got X amount of XP, but all that XP confines into one alluvial, and then it gives it to that alluvial.
Kind of.
That's the most obvious. That's the most obvious, and it was something that we were discussing way back there when I was still on the scene.
Because you have to understand, Web3 people get super excited about this stuff. They're like, "Fuck!" Well, imagine if you saw like 100,000 atlases or something like whatever alluvials get burnt in like a week or so. Everyone's like, "Oh, okay, now they're more valuable, and now I'm going to go do AR runs." It's like a nice little snowball loop. But yeah.
Yeah, so you have I see three possible options. One, burn for XP. That's the obvious one.
Yep.
Two, you can actually burn for stat reroll, kind of, but not actually. Like, you know how you can burn 3 Firies to get a Fiery Ox and their stats kind of combine? You can do the same thing for 3 Firies to 1 Fiery. That could be interesting. But the third thing is this egg system they're talking about, where maybe you get 1 egg when you beat this boss Scoriox, you get a fiery egg, right? I think it's a really cool idea. But basically, you beat like a boss Scoriox, you get a fiery egg, and then you've got to incubate it. You can only incubate 1 of these a day, and then you got to do it. You got to level it up over time and stuff like that. But your burning mechanic can come into this. Maybe you beat a bunch of Scorioxes and you get like 5 fiery eggs, and you hatch them all, and then you like burn 4 of them to help you get further along in the leveling up
and encourage you to spend money,
improve the incubating. Basically.
And what about your we haven't even talked about this because it's on my list, but drone progression. But let's go back to ranger progression. What if burning atlases gives you XP in your perfect fucking thank God Scoriox is here. Gives you XP in your bulwark water XP line, right? What if you burn a bunch of them to speed through that shit a little bit? I mean, these are all possibilities that I think make sense. And it's not things that I'd be against. Like, that shit makes sense to me.
So hang on, are they going to do this with the set 1 alluvials? Yes or no?
Yeah, well,
they have to. They fucking have to.
So, is there a buying opportunity where you could buy a bunch of them up and go, "Oh yeah, I got a bunch of these now"?
If you want to progress your ranger faster, I think that would be the fastest way to burn alluvials if you wanted to. Yeah, because everyone would be going for the max ranger level to beat all the good raids and stuff really, really quickly.
But is that pay to win then? Because you're just buying all of it and then you just. I mean, there has to be some sort of limitations, right?
It's already pay to win, but I mean, you have a max ranger level, so it's not that bad.
Interesting. I feel like it would be boring if you just spend like couple $100 and then your range is max level. I feel like there has to be some sort of limitation of what that can do.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But at the same time, you make it really difficult to the higher echelons, maybe.
You need a whale to be able to spend easy money, and like get some cool stuff, whether it's looks wise or stats wise. But you can't let them get so far ahead in the game where they can just skip it all. You need to make sure there's a progression thing with that. You can't just pay your way through the progression.
Well, they won't be able to. Yeah. That is something they talked about, is they want to do a soft gate progression a lot. Like, they want to be like, if your ranger is level 1, you can't use a level 5 alluvial, right? You're just not allowed to, or you can use it, but maybe it doesn't work very well or whatever.
It's broken.
Yeah, it's like in Pokemon, if you don't have the gym badges, the Pokemon disobeys you, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's a mechanic that's been in Pokemon forever.
I mean, surely there's so much in Pokemon that you could take.
Yeah, in Pokemon, it's been there forever. Basically, like, if you don't have, if you have only 1 gym badge, Pokemon up to level 20 will obey you. And this is basically to gate people trading. Like, you could have someone that's beaten the game trade your level 100 Mewtwo, but it won't actually listen to you unless you have all the gym badges.
I will actually say something about this. It was on the list. Alluvials will fight. No. Existing alluvials won't break the game. And they've talked about how they want to gate that by progression. So if we want to get to X level, again, the shit that they've said, I know we've had conversations behind the scenes as well. Let's bring that up a little bit to the front. The first time I heard the town hall, I was pretty excited about what they were saying. But yeah, one of the things that they did mention is that everyone that has a bunch of alluvials right now isn't just going to jump in And I think it's along the ethos of the original Illuvium that we knew and came into, of if you get involved now, you're not going to get a head start. I love that. I fucking love that from the start. I love that now. And the fact that these guys are saying that if you have your full collection now, you're not going to get a head start. You still need to progress. You still need to access your shit. I love that. Make the people play the game.
People want that. People want something to work towards. They don't want the game to be broken for the most part. Some people like cheesing their way through something, but
10,000%. And I mean, look, if you're time poor, I get it completely. Then Overworld isn't for you. I don't know, right?
It'll still make the game easier. You'll still get an easier game if you already own a bunch of Illuvials. It just won't be like broken.
I think the Ranger will stop you like in the progression side. So you'll log in on day one, and even if you have 1,000 Illuvials, you've got Scoriox, Hollow, Dark Hollow, doesn't matter. I think the Ranger will stop you from going crazy, basically.
Yeah, but a new player will have a level 1 Illuvial, and an existing player might have a level 5 Illuvial, so they will have an easier time.
No, but I mean, I feel like that maybe if you have a level 1 Ranger, either you can't use those Illuvials, or that Illuvial goes back to level 1 with you.
Yeah.
I don't think it goes back to level 1, but that's why I like the idea that I just spat out right there of burning Illuvials gives you access to those levels. If you need to be at a level 10 Fire Rogue to play your tier 5 Rampire, and you have 10 Rampires, burn 4 of them, maybe you get there, then you can play it, right? So I think it burns the supply. It gives you the chance to play your thing. They're still part of that progression. You're not really screwing everything up. Like, it makes sense to me. And again, I'm an idiot at all these things. I'm not, but for the sake of the conversation, I'm a complete idiot. I think there's some sense to what I'm saying. If you're an actual game designer, game developer, tell me that I'm wrong. But I think there is validity in this.
The biggest thing. So what Sam said something when you were off for a second that actually made me think maybe that wouldn't be the right choice. Is like someone could just pay their way to get max level straight away. I think you kind of like ruin a little bit because then they can just do all the hard raids and stuff like that. They get to everything first. It's a little bit too pay to win, but
again, I think 92 to 97 halfway through.
Yeah,
so I think
if you make it hard enough.
Yeah. If you make it fucking, bro, you got to be spending hundreds of thousands to get to there. Cool, do that.
Yeah, if you make it hard enough, I think it works. But the thing I want to say is when it came to the town hall, the biggest thing that stood out to me is really the co-directors have only been here for about a month. Well, a month at the time of the town hall. And they actually understand the ecosystem and everything existing inside Illuvium really well. Better than most people that are in the community. Okay. And like Illuvium systems are way overcomplicated. They're insanely stupid for the most part. And so it's really cool to see that they've actually like come in, they've taken the time to understand everything, and they've started to come up with some really good ideas that incorporate all of that sort of stuff, which is really, really cool. So, yeah, I'm just saying I like that. That stood out to me a lot, and that was really, really cool.
The funny thing is, my take on it was that they've been here a month. We've probably paid them $15,000 USD. What have they done? Which, look, there's nothing I can say. I don't know, but they seem to.
As someone that started a new job myself, that first month jumping into something as developed as Illuvium takes time. And I think what they've presented and the ideas, is it worth the 15,000, whatever number it is that we think it is? I don't know. But is it a necessary thing that we needed to do for the long run? Absolutely. Because no matter where we bring someone in, are they going to be as competent to acknowledge all the things and understand all the things already as quickly? I don't know. I agree with Scoriox here, which I'm doing a lot this episode actually. I think that they've caught on really quickly, and I think they've
also.
Well, we're not gonna. What you're saying, Sam? No one at any point are we gonna skip that unless we hire someone from the community that's extremely fucking qualified, which I don't think there's many of.
Like, I say it facetiously because one, you need a brainstorming session, right? You need to understand the product. So I get it, right? I'm just saying this 15,000 as an example, right?
You can't put that. You can't put that on an individual, anyways. You don't know how much red tape is in fucking Illuvium, man. It's finally starting to go away, but if you're saying if you think they should have done a lot more work, for all you know, it's Illuvium's fault that they haven't done more work.
And I still put them all under the same umbrella. Either get your shit together as a team so we can produce a good product and there's not that many hurdles and red tape, or fail.
Illuvium's handing them the resources to get this vertical slice done. And so it's giving them their chance, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Again, I legitimately, based on the shit that they're saying, and giving them the benefit of the doubt, I'm putting my faith in them that they know what the fuck they're talking about. It seems very clear based on the things that they've spoken about and the shit that I've studied on the side with game design, that they know what's up. And I'm willing to, like, I genuinely think that I would prioritize mobilization and localization of Arena. But in terms of the MMO, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think that they're actually going to make something happen.
They've chosen the right people for the job, thankfully. So
1,000%. 1,000%. Based on, no, I won't say this. But I'll say this. Finding competent people is very difficult. And what I'm hearing from them makes me believe that they're right for the job. And I'm excited to see what they can do. Is where I'm at.
All right, what do you got next on your list, Taryn?
Replayability as a core loop, something that they brought up. The quote, if I'm a player and I finish the quest, what else can I do? Is it sticky? One, good that they're talking about it. The second thing, related, loot rolls, mods, and boss drops. Gear chasing meta. Each piece of gear can roll unique synergy bonuses. So it echoes Diablo, Path of Exile, Borderlands. I love this shit. I don't know if anyone knows this, how I got into Web3. I was addicted to Borderlands 3, and there was a specific, I thought you were about to smoke a cigar right there. It's just a Kit Kat. I was addicted to Borderlands 3. There's a specific gun in a Halloween thing called the Yellow Cake, and it destroyed everyone. And every yellow cake that you picked up had different stats to it. And so I would grind for hours on end to try to get the best yellow cake I could. And then I stopped playing it. That's what got me into Web3. What if I owned the best yellow cake? What if there was a marketplace for that shit? That makes sense to me. And the fact that they're thinking about this makes so much more sense. The reason that I grind hours and hours and hours for the best thing is I wanted the best stat thing. And then I'd grind hours and hours after I got it to get another version of it to give to my friend. That makes sense. The fact that they're talking about this now, that they understand it, that they address it, makes sense to me. And I'm behind it fully. I don't know. What do you guys think about the replayability and the randomized stats per item?
I think it's cool because I think in every new Illuvium game, you have your one thing that you can grind for that isn't Illuvials. And the Illuvials go throughout it all, but they all have their own individual things that are attached. But I think the gear that you grind for and stuff is going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Path of Exile 2. Still haven't finished it. I'm almost there. And yeah, it has the randomized loot systems and stuff. It's great. You just need to get a lot of it. And I don't know how valuable this stuff is going to be because it's going to be a bit interesting the way they do the systems. But I do like how it's going to come into this boosting synergies and your progression of your range and all that sort of stuff. I think that's the important part here. And I really like how that's sounding.
Cool. Sam, I mean, what are your thoughts on the item stat rolls?
Well, you're a WoW player, so you'd love it, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, it makes complete sense.
I always liked in any game, and it doesn't mean I'm the mass market, but in an MMORPG or a light or whatever, if there's like a set of armor that you can reach at the end that you want to get that's very difficult, it's a very big thing to aim for, and it makes you go through the grindiness of any game to reach that, and then only very few have that, and you add ownership to it, and they could sell it for whatever, financial gains. It's an obvious choice and needed in the game loop. It just there's no if buts about it.
And then on top of that, it's the difficulty side of things that I want. I want that boss raid that gives you like the really fun items to be really, really hard. I want the 1% of people be able to beat it.
Yeah, and that's what it has to be.
Replayability, right? And I've spoken to Modern Llama about this. I don't know, Sam. You probably definitely not. Watch anime. I do sometimes. Scoriox, I'm not sure, but there's an anime that's come out. What's it called? Something Frontier.
You told me
Is
to
it
watch Shangri-La Frontier. I still haven't seen
Shangri-La Frontier. That's exactly it. And they've got this thing. They've got this thing called like the Seven Colossus, which are ongoing bosses that once you defeat them, they're gone forever for everyone. But they're so impossible to beat. In terms of replayability, that should be a thing, right? In terms of like the end game, like I'm willing. I would say add a boss that if it hits you one time, you're dead. Add that shit in there. That it takes players 6 months to complete.
On that note,
Do
how does
that
this
shit?
How does this sound, guys? Because I know risk to earn is becoming a really big thing in Web3 at the moment. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Sam.
Yeah,
Taryn,
all
you're
of
probably
it.
not across
And
it.
I've been screaming for about a year and a half because I've been trying to make my own game with risk to earn.
I think
And then
risk
these
to I really
triggers-
like risk to earn. I've always thought about it like poker is the number one use case for crypto, right? Poker is the number one use case for crypto, right? I would like to see us have those sorts of systems. Like we saw hardcore WoW pop off recently on Twitch circles and things like that. This sort of gameplay is really, really popular. I think we should add that in. You should have like a really tough boss. It's like if you lose, the Illuvium you took in with you is burned.
Yes.
Like I would love that sort of hardcore systems being added to the game and making it more interesting and more diehard. Like it's purely optional. No one has to opt into this sort of thing. But I think we need those sorts of systems in the game. People enjoy it, especially crypto.
But
people.
even on top of that, right? Because we know whales fund like what 1% of whales or something, and then it funds everyone else's thing. So whales is where you make the money, right? What if you on top of what Scoriox just said, 100%, something like that. But if they want to go into the fight, they spend 200 fuel to make sure that they don't lose anything, right? As an insurance thing that keeps the economy going. Like these are so many obvious answers that I'm surprised. I'm assuming they're thinking of. It's just how they will implement it. I don't know.
The risk to earn one is one we'll have to bring up when we talk to them.
And when we do bring them on, give us enough time so we can actually curate these questions because I love to pick their brains. And
as long as they don't give me shit answers of like soon or thinking about it or maybes, like so maybe they need more time. So whatever that threshold is.
Yeah. But there's three of us. I'm sure we can push him a little bit. There's three of us. I feel no kind of way of not being an employee anymore. But to your point, 1 to 2% of the player base of whales are responsible for generating 50 to 70% of in-app purchases.
Yeah.
So 10,000%. Yeah, again, end game, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'll skip through a couple of these. One thing that I'm very excited about is that Breach, what they're doing. These guys, I wanted to make Breach its own game. They've decided, and what's very interesting is, again, Sam, we've been playing RuneScape a little. I mean, we haven't been playing. We played one time. Clear the shit up. We played one time. Yeah. I played myself a little bit as well. But they're looking to integrate Breach into the new MMO as dungeons. I love that idea. I didn't think I would. I do like it now. That's one thing that they've mentioned that they're willing to do, not that they're guaranteed to do. Interested to see based on all their other answers. Again, benefit of the doubt. Very, very keen for it.
I will say, I don't know if this is a common thing or if this is just me, but I get more attached to a game when I can break up the gameplay of it. So with the example of maybe Pokemon, maybe you go and battle a gym and then you're like, okay, I want to go capture a new Pokemon. So you go capture a new Pokemon. Or maybe I want to battle some trainers. So you battle some trainers. And you're not always doing the same game loop over and over again. You have like 4 or 5 different game loops inside the same game. And you just do whichever one you want at any given time.
That's why RuneScape was so successful.
The RuneScape that we're playing, you're out there fucking doing dungeons. I'm out here building a house. It's different things.
It's not so much, but I'm not so much talking about like different people like different parts of the gameplay. I'm saying that I'm the sort of person that likes doing them all, but like I break it up.
When
like
you
30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of this.
That's what you have to do.
But I jump back and forth and that keeps me more engaged. And it sounds like that's what the direction they're going with the MMO-Lite, and that would actually be really, I would really like that personally. I don't know if that's what a lot of people enjoy, but that's what I like, and it seems to work well on a lot of stuff.
Are they still going to have the bubble at the end of the run or whatever with the energy thing? Like, I guess you'll go and say you do a dungeon and it's breach or whatever, but you still come back to the area and still go through your quests and everything else and capture alluvials and fight enemies.
They might have it in the raid in some way. I don't know.
I was going to say, at the end of if the bubble starts to close, like everyone wants to finish a big boss at the end, right? It'd be really cool to fight the Leviathan or whatever as a boss fight at the end of your run. And if you kill it, then there's a big chest and rewards and everyone's happy, then it'll make you want to go do it again, right?
I would love to ask that as a question, because I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. But I mean, it sounds like they're going to revamp the whole thing. Is that something that's going to stick around?
Not sure.
I don't know.
I mean, because
they'll reuse the bubble and breach in some way, I would have to guess, but I don't know.
Because at the end of the day, breach is like a bunch of enemies. You level up, it's sort of to a degree in the breach area. You do a bit more, and then you get to the end, and there's a boss at the end, and that would be the fight, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think the raid boss is in the same spot as breach. I think you're in an MMO run. You can do different breaches, and then you have a raid boss is a different spot.
Why break a system that's already... I don't even think breach would be a good idea for a dungeon. Like, I think about it, and I mean, I'm just thinking about it now. I haven't thought in depth.
How is it different from a typical dungeon?
Well, with breach, you level your stuff up and stuff, and you go to the next style and you level some more. And
people love roguelikes, yeah.
Yeah, it's a roguelike, right? Whereas a dungeon, you're still the same person through the whole dungeon. You fight a level 1 boss, and then you get to level 3 boss, and then the end boss, right? That's different, right?
Yeah, but it's like you just take different pathways.
No, but in breach, you literally level your, like, if you finish on an island, you fight on it, right? You then pick your next thing and you level up your fire affinity or your sword, right? So you're leveling up in a way. So with a dungeon, you just come in with everything you've got. You've got your potions and your alluvials, and you fight your way through. No?
I don't see why that conflicts though.
But the boost are normally quite small.
The other. I would prefer, I'm saying as a user, to have a dungeon-like style, not roguelike, where
they're basically the same.
No, they're not.
They're not. But I like roguelikes. I would like that as a mini game. Like
that's not a dungeon though. At the end of the day, they need something. If you watch RuneScape, Dragon Wilds has done it very, very well. There's survivability in it and stuff like that. We don't have to go into that. But the idea of a dungeon, you've all played a dungeon. You start at the end, you finish, you kill a boss at the end. What I would like to see, though, even if there is little dungeons or you go out into the world, again, I don't know if the bubble thing is coming into it and it zooms in and then there's you got no time left. It would be cool if you fought a dragon or Leviathan in this case at the end, and then there's a big chest and a reward there. There has to be some sort of ending to it. But then again, we don't know if that bubble's still going to be there, right?
No.
Yeah.
So there is an ending to it. I don't know if you've seen much of Breach, but there is a boss at the end of it.
Yeah, I've seen that. But that isn't. But so if you go into a dungeon and it's Breach, and then you finish at that end boss, and then you just go back to where the Illuvium world is, like Abyssal Basin or something.
Yeah, but you get your rewards and stuff.
Right. So that's what you guys. So you're basically saying the dungeon will be the breach, and then after the breach, you come out, and then you still quest around and do stuff. So you're basically saying the bubble is no more. Is basically what you're saying.
That's what I'm imagining. Again, I'm not Steve or Trevor. We need to ask them this.
Thank God.
The way that I'm looking at this is that you go into it. It's a bonus thing. Are you ready for it? Can you even get that far? But again, these are great questions to ask Steve and Trevor, right?
Yeah, it's just like a bonus thing in the world. That's how I see it. Okay. It's basically how Big Time does it. That's how I imagine it.
First of all, is there anyone playing Big Time anymore?
Yeah, apparently it's really popular. I have this guild
liar.
No, legit, dude. I have this guild that invites me onto their game nights sometimes, right? And I speak to them about this stuff all the time because they're playing all the crypto games and they're finding the best ones. Apparently they're all making bank on Big Time. Apparently that's the only one they can earn money in. I'm
sorry, hats off to Big Time if they've done that, because they sort of not scammed everyone. They just did a really smart move from their marketing money side of things, and then loot boxes, and then it sort of died. But it was all Brazilian players. So unless they've picked it back up,
apparently it's doing really, really well. That's what they told me. They all play the game every day. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just saying.
Has one streamer on Twitch right now with one viewer.
Hang on, I'm looking at their leaderboards. I mean, they got players, a lot of players.
I'm not even going to look at Illuvium. Illuvium is.
Because they do. I mean, they're doing rewards like Illuvium does. They give away Big Time. Like if you're first, you get 36,000 Big Time, whatever that means in tokens, and then it scales down. And they obviously reward their top I guess hundreds and hundreds of players. So,
I don't know.
interesting.
I mean, credit.
Apparently, they're earning from like getting loot and selling it and stuff. Like apparently, their marketplace is popping off and they're making shit tons of volume.
I would love to look into more of that and see because that's interesting.
Go look into it. I've heard good things.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of points. I know we've been going fucking goddamn. We've gone almost as long as a goddamn Lord of the Rings movie. We'll wrap this up. I'll skip a couple of the points, but vertical slice. We've already talked about it. We're hoping that comes relatively soon. I'm hoping the next 4 to 6 months.
Just give me a dumbed down version.
We'll get it like a month and a half.
What's vertical slice? Do you think?
You think a vertical slice in a month and a half?
It won't be playable to the public, but a video of it, yeah.
I don't give a shit. We need it playable to the public.
Slice, that's longer.
Vertical slice, Sam, is a little bit of what they're planning for.
I don't think we'll play the vertical slice. That's sort of code for that's a prototype code. You can't play that. The vertical slice will be for a video, and then they'll have to rebuild it for the public playtest.
What the fuck are you talking about? Isn't the vertical slice? Did they not mention that they wanted the vertical slice to the public so we can get feedback on what works well, what doesn't work well? It sounds very much like they want to get that to the public.
I don't think we're gonna play it, man.
Okay, well. Let's fucking see. But a vertical slice is not the full MMO, but pretty much a loop of the MMO that we can try out is what I took from it. That we can try out, give feedback. That works well. That doesn't. That's the vertical slice.
Okay.
But the other thing, which I think ties it all up, and we can wrap it up after this. There's a couple of things that I've skipped out, but fine. Long-term goal: bring Overworld to mobile. Mobile represents the biggest opportunity space, which is exactly what I mentioned. 68% of players of all games are mobile players. So the fact that they're talking about this, the fact that they're thinking about this, I don't know how feasible, I don't know how quickly they can get this done, but the fact that they're thinking about this is good. I'll leave it at that. I can't add more to that.
They haven't optimized any environment.
The issue with that is so far ahead where they don't even have funding for it, to be honest with you. And I like how they think. So they probably said that as an answer they did in the podcast or whatever. But it's just not even on the roadmap. It's not even close to being ready. Like 2 years plus away.
The big thing for them is they're taking a lot of inspiration from Genshin.
2 years is a push? No way.
2 years as a push for optimization?
No, I'm saying 2 years plus. Like it is like to get it on mobile. Wild. You think it's sooner?
I reckon if they prioritize it, they can get it in 12 months.
What is wrong with you? Look at what they have to do. You have to do arena features.
No.
You don't even have a marketplace in the overworld.
Hold back.
Overworld.
Yo, overworld. Okay, MMO. If they get MMO right, I think if they get MMO right,
I think arena.
No, MMO.
Okay.
I think 12 months. Do you think it's going to take more than 12 months from today to get Arena on mobile? 12 months from today.
I think you're miscalculating so much shit they have to do with the money they have.
Well, that might be true. That might be true.
Overworld on mobile, 2030. Call me at 2030 on January 1st. Ring me, and I'll be like, it's not there yet.
Okay. So, let's ask this question, right? Okay, so with Arena where it is, we know that they've been optimizing the models and shit like that. From today, you think mobile on Arena is more than 12 months away?
I would say it's at least 12 months away, somewhere around there. Middle of next year.
If they were to prioritize it, mobile on Arena is 2025. End of 2025. Yes.
No, because they're going to do Overworld, right? They're going to.
Yeah. I'm saying if they prioritize it.
Arena's going to come out July, August. That's pretty much confirmed, right? That's when they do their little push to get their VC raise.
Sam, two questions. Today, Arena. Fuck everything else. Arena. From today, how long would it take for them to get it on mobile? I would say that's less than 12 months.
If they put all the resources to it or no?
Yeah, what is feasible?
A normal feasible timeline? No, not 2025. No chance.
Wow. Okay, I disagree with that. But okay, fair play. and maybe that's why I'm a bit more optimistic about Overworld. I'd say Overworld 2026 for sure.
Because what I think that we're not taking into account is, say they launch Arena and it gets busy or not even busy. It doesn't even matter. There's going to be more problems, more blockchain issues. Like I just saw Crypto Quick Chat about talking about blockchain integration and migration, sure. But then they've got to deal with rewards and backlog of things and then Overworld. Like I just don't think it's on their timeline. I think it's next year minimum.
No, I think you can do it by the end of the year. The optimization's done for mobile, basically.
Again, I think the models and the optimization is done. It's just the implementation, which I think can be done for Arena in 12 months.
And this goes back to our question earlier. Are you going to focus more on mobile Arena or Overworld?
Which is exactly why I asked the question.
That's the hard part.
And if they do mobile, even if they did mobile and not like the Overworld, say they just like they slowly build that out till next year and then they use set 2. Then even if they did mobile now, I don't think it's here by the end of the year. Even if they focus on it.
Crypto Quick Chat, I ain't gonna bet this shit. It's not about feasibility.
I will happily have a bet.
It's not about feasibility. It's about execution. And they're two different things. Two different things.
Yeah, it's not. I can't make a bet on it because there's too many caveats.
Scoriox has a house. Let's bet that.
Yeah, let's bet the house, Scoriox.
There's too many caveats on it because you don't know if they're going to prioritize it or not. That's a big
exactly.
Factor,
There's
right?
too many variables. Feasibility and execution are two different things.
Mobile's coming in 2026. Overworld's coming in 2026. It'll be a slow release. That's how it happens.
You reckon? Interesting.
Arena will launch July, August. Maybe they get the funding. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
I wouldn't even want to raise.
They have to. They have
$5 a token. That's like 80% of your treasury is gone.
Okay, what would you do?
But they have to, yeah.
Well, you're gonna hope the token price. You're gonna hope the token price goes up.
Scoriox NFTs.
You're gonna hope the token price goes up. Otherwise, you've got to. Kieran and Aaron have to sell their token.
There is no VC in Web3 right now across the board that is putting money into Web3 gaming because they've all been burnt 100 times over. If you look at any rounds, they're going into AI. So this is why I get scared for Illuvium because I'm like, I don't even know where they're going to get the money from. I know there's probably internal conversations and best friends with heaps of money, blah, blah, blah. There's something I've never told before, right? I don't even know if I should say this. Yeah. Okay, so this never went through and the conversations didn't even start, but I had a contact in Dubai willing to give tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to Illuvium potentially. But at the time, who I spoke to didn't want to take the deal because the token price was at $40 or something around that time, and they didn't want to raise then. So I mean, this was too early in the conversation. I didn't even connect them at all. But there was someone in Dubai who had a lot of money who was willing to look into this a bit more in depth and have the money to do so. Looking back, now would have been a really good idea, but that's life.
I will say this: 10,000. I've been saying 10,000 a lot. Let me up it a little bit. 100,000%. I agree with Crypto Quick Chat. I wouldn't doubt Kieran's ability to make contacts and sell the project. If there was one thing,
he has a silver tongue when it comes to this shit.
I don't think they'll be able to raise. I don't think so.
If there's one thing that I credit Kieran on, is his ability to communicate the idea and the passion behind. Yeah, bro. He is a killer at that.
He's the best at raising capital in all of Web3. Honestly,
I'll never, ever, ever doubt his ability at that. Whether it happens to what we need or not, debatable.
Will they raise in July or August, September, and say the token price is either $10 or even $40? It doesn't even matter. Do you reckon they'll be able to secure the raise if they're getting some player numbers?
If the token price is high enough and they have some level of players, for sure, yeah. I just wouldn't raise this low.
But what would you do, right? Because what can you do? You're running out of money.
I don't think you have a choice. I think you got to pray on the bull run and raise when it comes. If it doesn't come, you're screwed either way. Because raising at $5 doesn't save you. Does it?
How many ILVs are in the treasury?
We've got like 2 million tokens total, but we need to keep at least half of that.
So if they sold 500,000 of them, what does that give them? 2.5 mil?
Yeah.
That gives them 3-4 months. Nah.
Well, it's not 3-4 months. It's more like 6-7 months. But yeah, it's not worth doing it.
Yeah.
The other side of things is Kieran and Aaron have their tokens. You'd have to sell a bunch of them.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
But that's just what's even the market cap? Like, what can they even sell into that? And then obviously the whole community gets screwed over, and then they probably all the investors.
It's OT. You could sell them OTC. So
that's about point. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you could sell it a $10 IOV token, but if the IOV token goes to 30 or 40, you bet Kieran straight onto it, 100%.
So there's 5. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's a sticky situation. They either need to come through with a godlike move with TFT players coming in and people spending money.
There is other options too. You can actually cut costs further and then just
wrap
this runway.
Let me wrap this full circle.
Isn't that like a burning candle where you're just like prolonging something, or you just think it will give them enough time to do it?
Well, you just kind of need to prolong it till the bull run, anyways, don't you?
But is the bull run even coming? I think it'll be Q3. Q4
well, we don't know, but I think you need the bull run either way. Personally, I think it's end of this year. I
just don't know who's going to buy the token with no players. It's all potential.
Obviously.
I don't want to be the negative person because I love Illuvium, but I'm just saying I just don't see VCs coming in to go, here's a bunch of money.
To be clear, I think they'll be fine.
You know what they could do?
I'm not going to sell tokens at $5.
No, you know what they could do? Because they could. IMX has $200 million, right? In cash, I believe, or close to, I think, something like that. A lot of money, right? There's nothing wrong with them putting in 10, 15 mil as a loan. That could be an option, and then Illuvium would be fine. Thank you.
There's always options. All right. That's it for today's episode of the Download Illuvium News.
Let me say one thing.
This is the longest episode we've ever done, by the way.
It's almost 2 hours, bro. It's
100%. It's my fault.
I fucking said it was a good episode. I told you, Sam, come on. But one thing I'll say before we wrap up. A smooth sea does not make a good sailor. So this is the time to be paying attention and seeing what the fuck happens. Because it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Crypto Quick Chat actually says something that I want to touch on here. He says the entire alt market has the same problem right now.
Liquidity.
So here's how I see it. Web3 gaming's having Web3 gaming's having trouble raising. That's obvious. Okay. But what I do know is when they start to run out of money, Illuvium is not going to be the first one to run out of money. What happens when 98% of the crypto games go bankrupt and then the bull run kicks in? Illuvium is one of the last final standing. Who's not going to want to get in on that? I'm just saying, like, there's strengths in being the size Illuvium is.
We'll see how it plays out.
But hang on, do you think? I don't know. I should have stopped. But Axie Infinity's coming out with their little game, right? And there's like 17 million signups. 17 million signups, right? Whether there's bots in that, I don't even know. Or lies, I wouldn't even know. That's coming out June, July. And I genuinely mean this, and it wouldn't even surprise me because they've killed it. I don't care what anyone says, even though their game wasn't a game at the start, blah, blah, blah. They did a smart thing. Do you think they kicked off the first Web3 bull market? Will their game get everyone super excited again and push this Web3 narrative?
If they're making money, yeah.
I'm not against it.
Hang on. I did notice this, right? Because I went on to Axie Infinity and I had a Ronin wallet full of a bunch of Axies, right? And I did notice their volume is obviously like 30 ETH a day or 10 ETH a day. I don't even remember. Whatever it is, it's still good money. But what I did notice is I think they have bots in the background. They offer people on their Axie, so there's like constant flow of money and cash flow. So I don't even know if it's their true numbers. Again, this is me hypothetically thinking this. But yeah, at TSG, what were you going to say? I don't know. I think maybe they could kickstart the Web3 gaming, but I just don't see...
Sorry, my wife sent me videos of my baby, and I was watching that shit. Fantastic. No, I don't disagree. And I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against actually starting the shit. I was on Twitter fucking replying to Jesus Martinez, Classy Crypto. I mean, he's seeing some shit with I don't even know what the fuck it's called, but this new thing. I don't know, man.
All the new Ponzi games are taken off. I'm getting into all of them. There's so much fun.
All the new Ponzi games, but
it's like the new meme coin. They're like new. I hate meme coins. I hate the all of it's bullshit.
How dare you? Fucking Doge is this shit now.
Okay, Scoriox, is there anything else, or you want to do your sign off?
Let's wrap it up. Is
anyone even still watching this thing? Is there? How do you know?
29. we've definitely dropped.
What did we peak at?
And with that, the download is